Welcome to Midday. We are starting our Monday show off with, of course, our Decision 2018 special election segment here on Midday. We have the next three candidates that will be answering some questions for you today. We are joined by Ray Dollywall and Sadie Hunter and Stephen Karpuk. So thanks very much, you guys, for being here. Yeah. And just before we start, a big happy birthday to Ray. Of course, it is Ray's birthday today. We have to acknowledge that. So happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
And thanks for sharing your birthday with us here on the show. So here's how this is going to work. I don't know, you guys may have seen the other two that we did, but basically we give you 30 seconds to answer a random question out of this envelope, and then you can rebut at the end between each other, and if we have time for another question, we will. So we're keeping this kind of fun on Midday. So we will take the first question. I don't know which one is coming out of here either, so let's just see which question we have for you. We start the show off by asking, how would you propose City Council deal with housing affordability concerns here in Kamloops? Ray, would you like to start?
Very good, thank you. Pleasure being here today with my fellow candidates. Housing affordability, well, as we all know, housing is not affordable to build. So I think the city can do better with their municipal taxes by lowering them and lowering their expectations. There's so many separate fees that are always passed on to the builders that have to be passed on to the prospective buyers. So we can do better on that.
Sadie, what are your thoughts on that?
I think where we could look to is a CAM plan as a guideline for looking at how communities should develop going forward. There's a kind of a shortage of mid-level housing for entry-level home affordability. So we could, if we had more duplexes, fourplexes, things that were affordable, not necessarily single-family homes or apartments, but another option for people, and especially young couples, I think that would move some people who are currently renting into something else and then open up the rental market and just maybe create more affordable options across the spectrum.
Right. And Stephen, what do you think about housing affordability?
I think it's obviously a multifaceted problem that we need to solve for our community. We don't need to keep building 4,000 square foot homes and then trying to sell them for $1 million, because that's sort of an entry point and an affordability issue for some people as well. I think density is something we need to address. In the context of planning, we can look at zoning options. There's carriage homes, there's micro homes and communities that are springing up around that. I think some of that also needs to be addressed in how we're going to make homes affordable in the overall cost of other things like utilities. What's the cost of transportation? So is a building that's being built walkable to our public transit systems? All of those factors have to come in to figure out the solution.
Do either of you disagree with each other on this topic?
No, lots of good points being brought up, and that's why we have a council of 8 to bring these ideas forward and discuss them and hopefully put some of these things into action. So.
Yeah, housing affordability is a big one, of course, and not just for young people getting into the market, but also for anyone of any age, really. I mean, I know there's a lot of construction companies now building units specifically just for rent because it's gotten so unaffordable. So, yeah.
Correct.
Well,
yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say I questioned a couple of people at the Canadian Home Builder Association locally, and they sort of surveyed their members, and I believe they came up with something which I found a little shocking. The standard 4,000 square foot house, which seems a little large for my sort of taking, but about 600,000 being it up to BC building code standards. So when you factor in the cost of the land being close to $250,000, places like Juniper and Aberdeen, you're looking at a house, when they're looking at a profit margin, that's probably going to be listing at close to $1 million or more dollars, and that just seems astronomical, out of reach for other people. So other options for smaller homes, higher density, a carriage house that can help somebody with their mortgage. It builds a better community by getting more people connected to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have about 2.5 minutes left only. This goes by quickly, so I want to ask you one more question here. Let's see if we can squeeze in an answer on another question for everybody who's watching at home. Are you in favor of a performing arts center in Kamloops? Why or why not? This is a huge topic, of course. Kind of a contentious one too in our city. We'll start with you again, Ray.
Sure, yes, I would be in favor of that. It depends on the location. We might have to revamp the last one that we've had that came to us because it was so expensive, but there is so much community support between private people that want to develop this. So I think we need to engage that, bring them in a little bit closer, and talk with the city. And yes, definitely we need performing arts center. We need a community center. This city is desperately lacking that.
And yourself, Sadie, what are your thoughts?
It's definitely something that I've had a lot of conversations about recently as I'm going door to door and talking to people in the community. I think it's something that people are looking for, just to add a bit of dynamic, the word I'm looking for, to their experience for quality of life. Get culture, it adds vibrancy to the city. I would almost go one step further and suggest that we need some intentionality behind what we're doing for arts and culture in the city beyond just like one building. So we're working on the recreation master plan right now, and I'd like to see something along the same lines for arts and culture in the city, and just lay out a 10 to 15-year plan for what that will look like.
All right, and Stephen?
Absolutely. I actually voted in favor of the last one. Though having learned more about it, I would actually say that the downtown location is not where I would choose for a lot of other reasons. I think up at TRU, there's an option to build one there, to apply for some grants and make it multifaceted and benefit our community in many other ways. And I think if we could co-manage it with TRU and some other partners, as long as there's a sound business sense behind it, I think the community will go for it.
Well, I'm sure there'll be further discussion on this topic. Thank you so much to all three of you for joining us today. That's our time. Of course, advanced polls, there is an option to vote this week on Wednesday, so make sure you take part in that if you cannot get out on Saturday, but get out and vote if either way. It's definitely important. And we will meet the next three candidates tomorrow. So all this week, we are profiling, and you can go to our website, cfjctoday.com, to learn a little bit more about each of our candidates. We're right back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.